How y'all doing? We are here once again, except this time it's a little different because this particular intro is for Sam White. It's a two-part because this one is actually meant for YouTube. So you're going to listen to the audio clip that we got of Sam White, and we were at Darlington earlier in the year when we spoke to Sam. And then at the tail end of this, I'm going to drop in a video that we got when we were in Rockingham just this past couple weekends. So Sam White, as soon as I learn how to speak, at White Lightning Racing. You can find him on Facebook at symbol White Lightning Racing. We got more content and stuff coming to that page. So here's your conversation, but hold tight after the conversation. I got a video of 2 passes for you, and you get to see the man himself. Thank y'all for keeping up. Have fun and listen up. All right, this is JT. Try and keep up. We have the man sitting in front of us, Sam White. I'm going to quickly point out, we were talking just before I come on here, that Hall of Famer. So, South Carolina. So it's a Hall of Fame biker. Am I getting that correct?
That's correct. South Carolina Biker Hall of Fame.
Okay. And do they have a display set up in there for you? I haven't had the honor to go by there yet.
They do. The gentleman runs Suck, Bang, and Blow down in Myrtle Beach, started the program, and I was inducted into the South Carolina Biker Hall of Fame 2 years ago. And they have an induction ceremony that occurs during February each year.
Very cool. All right. Now, obviously, we spoke beforehand, and there's a bunch of information, because we know everybody. This is for people that may not know you as well, because a lot of people follow me in the cycling and running and all that other weird stuff that I do when I'm not here at the racetrack. So, who is Sam White? If you had to describe yourself to somebody.
I'm a successful businessman. I'm a mechanical engineer. I operate a mechanical contracting company with my 2 brothers. We became very successful at it, and when I was 45 years old, I realized that I really wanted to know what I was made of. And I was introduced to Top Fuel Harley drag racing, and I was introduced to a gentleman named John Sands. Went into his race shop and told him that I was interested in purchasing the Top Fuel bike that they had for sale, him and Bob Malloy. He refused to sell it to me for over 3 or 4 months. Kicked me out of his race shop 3 or 4 times, said he wasn't going to have anything to do with me getting hurt on a motorcycle drag strip. 4th time I went in, he said, well, if the rider was to sell his part of the team to you, I guess I'd have to do something with you. And he kind of chuckled. And I knew it was Bob Malloy, and I called Bob Malloy and successfully negotiated that deal, returned to John Sands' race shop. He wanted to know what I was doing standing there, and I said, well, I'm here so you and I can get busy with this Top Fuel bike. And he promptly got on the telephone to Bob Malloy, and it was a very short conversation, and he looked up at me and said, well, I guess we better get started. And he said, I want you down here every Tuesday night and Thursday night after work, and you'll stay here till midnight. We will take this machine apart down to every nut and bolt. And we'll get a chalkboard, and then I'm going to start explaining to you how this motorcycle works. Wow. So I bought half ownership of a Top Fuel team at the age of 45, and I had never drag raced any type of motorcycle at all down a drag strip.
Wow. Now, were you into motorcycles prior, just street riding?
Yes, I was. I was into that with ended up being my crew chief, Dave Wyckoff. Okay. And Dave operated a CMC dealership from a California motorcycle company for about 5 years, and then had an Indian motorcycle dealership for 2 or 3 years. Okay. And him and I were involved in the 2 dealerships where I helped floor plan motorcycles, and we had a good time doing that. We really enjoyed that.
Now, obviously, Bob Loy was a big influence and heading you in this direction. Once you had to go in there and work till midnight, 2 days a week, what was your first race out of the gate? Where were you at?
The first race that I ever attended, I went to get a license. That was our objective. So we were at Rockingham. We tested all summer, and I didn't do very well. I realized I had bitten off way more than I could chew. But I was there, and I was determined to prove something to myself, what I was made of. And so Steve Airwood was very gracious about letting me drive all over his racetrack and run into everything out there. And the World Finals came in 1999. And John Sands said, well, it's the last race of the season. Let's see if you can get a license. So they decided to put me in during qualifying and run by myself. So the first thing you have to do is they'll tell you to go down to track to a certain point. at this point in time, they said go down about the 8th mile, under control, full power, shut the machine off, and return. And they check off that you do that okay. Next time he said, okay, going down the track about 1,000 feet and shut the bike down. And then third pass, he's gonna let me run the quarter mile. Okay. So it got to be dark. I hadn't done much night running, and so they're doing this during qualifying, but I don't have a license. And there are 20 top fuel bikes at Rockingham.
Oh my goodness.
Excluding me. So the last pass, the starting officials and track officials came to me and said, okay, Sam, to get your license, you make a full pass best you can. As full throttle as you can get down the racetrack. Okay. As luck would have it, we ran a time that qualified me 16th for the World Finals. It was last, but we qualified. Well, the announcer didn't realize I didn't have a license.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the uh-oh comes now. So he got excited and started telling the fans about how that was my first time ever, and it was my first time ever to a racetrack on a top fuel bike. And I had qualified 16th for the World Finals. And he just went on and on and on telling everybody about this. And you got to come back tomorrow to see how he does. And, well, again, I did not have a license. Got back to the pits, and there was quite a meeting going on, which I did not attend. I could see all the other racers up there, track officials, AHDRA officials. And I went to my pits, and my crew asked me, are you going to go up there? I said, no. We came here for a license, and I did not have a license.
Yeah.
After several hours, Mr. McGrew came down to my pits, walked up to me, and he said, that's really something we had going on tonight. He said, you certainly caused a stir in the pits. He said, you didn't have a license. I said, yes, sir, I understand. He said, and the gentleman you knocked out was Chicago Joe. He is now number 17. And there was a lot of discussion whether you should be racing tomorrow. And he said, long story short, he said, here's your license. And he said, we start at noon, and don't you be late because you're running Bob Spina. And he said, if you'd like to thank somebody, go thank Bob Spina. He just let you into the Nitro-Harley racing family.
Holy cow.
And that's how it started.
So, and that first matchup, how did it go?
First matchup was...
he's got a grin on his face. Y'all can't see this, but he's got a grin on his face.
That thing I was looking for, I was about to find, and I didn't know it. Sunday morning came, and I was extremely scared. Yeah. I admit it. I was shaking. It had dawned on me Sunday morning when I woke up, and all the jubilation of qualifying finished, and I realized I'd never even been up beside another Nitro-Harley.
Oh my goodness.
Ever. Qualifying, nothing.
I got chill bumps thinking about it.
Yeah, and we're the first pair out. As soon as the national anthem finishes, you fire the bike, and down the track we go.
Wow.
I was so nervous, I went to chapel services that Sunday morning. And the preacher talked about commitment. And for the example, he used top fuel riders, those pilots. And I thought about how uncommitted I was at that point. And he said it's something that people should really think about. This type of commitment, this level. It's the same thing with God, and it's the same thing with the bikes. And I was scared. I mean, I was a chicken at that point. And he said if anybody needed any help that morning to raise their hand. And I did. I'm a Presbyterian, so I'm kind of the frozen chosen. I mean, that's us Presbyterians. But I had my hand pretty high in the air that morning. Got suited up. We went to the line, and I was still extremely scared. I mean, I was visibly shaking. My crew chiefs knew that I wasn't okay. And I finally looked up at the sky, and I told God, if he doesn't exist, that this, sorry about that, I get a little bit. No, so I told him, I said, you know what, this isn't right. My whole life, I've been following God, and I believe in him, and he's supposed to take care of us, and nothing will go wrong. So I looked up and I said, you know what, either this is a lie or this is a truth. And today I'm going to find out. I'd never held that throttle down wide open.
Uh-oh.
I held that throttle wide open. And right before I left, I really did feel a very calming sensation come over my body. Wow. Told my crew chief, I said, yeah, I'm ready to go. As things progressed down the racetrack, I laid the bike over too far and collapsed the rear tire. Ooh. The bike laid down completely on the left side. Handlebars up in the air. I could see my right hand where the wheel had turned to the left and was laying down sliding. And in that brief instant, I realized all I had to do was release the throttle the bike would try to throw itself up on towards the wall because I'm on my left side.
Okay.
And I said, when it throws it up now, that inertia is going to try to carry it over into the wall with me on it. I said, all I got to do is hit, when it stands up straight and I see the finish line, snap the throttle back to attention. Wow. In one move, I almost beat Bob Spina.
Oh, man.
I didn't know he was having as much trouble as I was in the other lane, but he was. And it was the best drag race and the worst drag race all in one
Oh, my
go.
goodness.
And that was my first experience drag racing Nitro-Harleys.
Wow. No, that's a story.
Yes,
Wow.
and at that point, I told my crew, I said, if he was going to take me, this was the time, and we're going to have fun drag racing, because I no longer have that fear. Yeah. I said, I realized I'm not a panic rider. I knew what to do. I said, everything slowed down. I said, it really does. It's like I had forever. Wow. And I remember looking up at my wrist and hand on the handlebar, and I said, this is a piece of cake. I know what to do. And I did it, and it worked. Because I listened to everything John Sands had taught me about that machine. And they operate one way, wide open, and they do it really well.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything else very well.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And that was our start.
Now, obviously, we can't go through all the accolades, but there's
Right.
plenty of season left, so we'll sit down and talk again about all that. Going from there throughout, now, obviously, that's a pivotal memory for you. Do you have another experience that really sticks out outside of that?
Right.
Good or bad?
Yep. And so at that point, John Sands, Dave Wyckoff, and Sam White went drag racing. Okay. And after that year, John Sands parted ways with us, and it was just myself and Dave Wyckoff and whoever we could get to help us go with us. Bill, let me back up. Was up at Maryland in Budds Creek, and I was struggling quite a bit trying to get down the racetrack. Still couldn't really hold the throttle wide open on and off. And Bill Furr walked up to me, and he said, I'm going to take you drag race me. He said, I know you don't know me that well, but he said, I'm getting together a group of motorcycles to run some 8-mile tracks in North Carolina, South Carolina, and I'm going to improve your driving skill. Ray Price showed up, and he said, Sam, he said, I know you don't know me very well, but he said, you seem pretty dedicated. He seemed like a nice guy, and he said, I'm going to teach you how to put your feet on them pegs. You're going to be a peg rider. And he said, and I'm going to teach you about driving that motorcycle with your feet on the pegs. Okay. And Jim McClure walked in my pits. And he said, and I'm the last guy you're going to talk to this weekend. He said, but my job is to teach you about that throttle. Wow. And Jim McClure looked me square in the eyes. He said, I don't care if you go 6 inches, 6 feet, 60 yards. I want it wide open. He said, and if you get out of control or out of shape, you shut that throttle off. And he said, and me and you are good, Sam. And that was Jim McClure. Wow. I said, if Jim McClure told me I could do that, I didn't really care what anybody else thought. And by the end of the year, they had me running very well, and the next time I got back to Budds Creek, Maryland, it was my first win in AHDRA and the funny bikes, pro fuel bikes.
That's very cool. Now, a lot of the times I ask people about the passion and why they're in particular class that they're in. I don't need to do that. I think I think you expressed that very well why you're into this. Now, you've got a ton to do. We got a ton of racing for you to do, so I'm not going to tie you up super long, but Terminator 2. So we had a conversation before we come on recording here. That's some information. It's just, the bike's amazing. I mean, what you and Johnny are doing. So let everybody know what you're building here and what you're doing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
We got to this point because after 12 years of racing, I stopped and realized I wanted to race all the time in retirement. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to go fishing or they want to go traveling. I wanted to go drag racing at age 65 full time. Yeah. So I met up with Johnny Vickers at his shop. He introduced me to the carburetor Nitro-Harleys, the pro fuel bikes. I bought Terminator 1 from him and then promptly hired him as my crew chief, which he didn't really want to do, but fortunately we got to a couple of racetracks. Leanne and April, my wife, became really good buddies, and Johnny walked up to me and he said, you know what, I've been thinking about that drag racing thing, and he said, you're making it fun again. He said, I've forgotten how to have fun at the drag race. And he said, Sam, I'll be honest, I'm having fun again. He said, I think I'll take you up on the offer. Let's go drag racing for about 5 years. And I got a commitment for 5 years from him. Wow. So first couple of years I'm on his Terminator bike, and I see a frame sitting in his shop. And I said, what's that? He said, that's the new generation of Terminator. I said, whose frame is that? He said, it's mine. I said, is it for sale? And he made the mistake of saying everything's for sale. And I bought it. And that bike was going to be Johnny Vickers' bike that he was building, the new next generation. So that was 2 years ago. It's taken 2 years for Johnny to manufacture this Generation 5 bike, what we call Terminator 2. And everything from the height, its footprint, its stance is an inch, like I said, it's an inch wider, it's an inch taller. The ignition system is completely different. The front end is different. The frame is different. The frame can be disassembled, so it's easier for maintenance. He hasn't left anything unchecked. And Johnny Vickers is so precise. When I showed up to pick up the two bikes after the winter, he said, go get the scales. We got to put them on the scales. I want to weigh the front and rear tires. He said, I want the rider on the bike. Johnny Vickers takes a tremendous amount of information and data all the time. His saying is, data is king. Information is king. And his passion for the sport has led him and I to have a really great friendship now at this point.
Wow.
So Terminator 2 is the generation where we want to move the entire class, the pro fuel class. We want to move our motorcycles like Top Fuel is moving towards the 6.0 mark. We want to move towards the 690 mark. That's our goal. That's that magic mark we're after. And these guys have been close. They've run lots of 718s and 20s and O's, and you know, we had one gentleman did run a 6, but it's been an elusive number to try to get to and sustain. So that's our goal, to sustain that.
Well, what I like is just before we come on to do the recording, you made the comment that this wasn't about building something for you. This was about building something for the sport, so
Absolutely.
that not just you can do the
Absolutely.
690, but everybody can do
Everybody
the
can do it. Everybody can do it. I'm a businessman. I encourage any businessman that thinks he has taken all challenges in life to come and see Johnny Vickers about his Nitro riding school. And he'll show you a part of life that may spark a passion in you that you will not believe. And then you realize it's bigger than you. It's a group of men and women that will travel thousands of miles to race these motorcycles for no fame and fortune or money. None of that. It's what's inside of us. It's in our heart. I mean, it's just what we love. And I don't know any other way to explain that but that. And it's just incredible. And to realize that I have an opportunity in my lifetime to change something about a sport, to make it better for everyone. This is what this is a dream. This is what you want. You know, winning a race, that's nice, but learning to win isn't difficult at all. Mm-hmm. Learning to lose and be the same person every day is extremely difficult, and that is something that this sport will teach you. It will humble you. When I'm a businessman, I am the Top Fuel champion in business. Anybody will tell you I am very good at what I do in business. Mm-hmm. When I come to this racetrack, it doesn't matter who Sam White is, and my name carries no weight out here. My name carries the same weight as everybody else. Because at that tree, we are all equal. I promise you. Your money cannot buy you a win in this sport.
Yeah. Now, a couple questions that's popped in my head for you. So, fathers, brothers, family, has anybody raced in the past in your family? Do you come from a family of racing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My father was a great race car driver.
Okay.
My father raced in 1955, 56, and 57, and he was based in South Dakota, and he ran modified dirt tracks. He set 32 track records.
Wow.
Had nearly 60 wins in racing. I've got his scrapbooks, his old helmets. As a matter of fact, my mother finally came to a race, one of my drag races, and when I first started, she was very upset and thought I had a death wish. And you know, at the age of 45, we're all drinking a little too much alcohol and running with the wrong crowds. And this gave me an opportunity to do something else a lot better. And she just really was worried, and finally came to a race at Rockingham. Saw me race. She walked into the pits, looked me square in the eyes, and she said, "So you're the one."
Oh, that's
yep,
funny.
Looked right at me and said, "You're the one." I said,
wow.
"Yes, ma'am. I'm the one."
Now, from the days, now I'm assuming you were at the track a lot with your dad?
Actually, my dad passed away before he ever saw me race anything.
Oh, man.
Yep, he passed away very early in my life. Drove a truck for a living, and he just kind of got the best of him there before he didn't get to see it.
He's smiling down on you. That's
I hope so.
All right, and we're at, oh yeah, I forgot to tell everybody where we're at. We're at Darlington. It's, where are we at? May 1st, Darlington. And crew-wise, let's give them a shout-out. Obviously, Johnny Vickers is with you, but let everybody know who's supporting you.
Oh yeah, Alex Church is a great green mechanic that Johnny hired while I've been with him, as he went through 2 or 3 young men, and then Alex came along, and Alex really is doing a great job on the motorcycle. I have a stepson, Matt Coleman. Matt Coleman is doing great because I run a second motorcycle as well. I have a Nitro funny bike. I also race at AHDRA events. So I run 2 Nitro-Harleys when I race now.
Oh wow.
Matt and Lynn Thomason are my crew on that bike, and I'm the actual tuner. So when we go to AHDRA, Johnny Vickers, Alex will take care of the Pro Fuel bike, and then myself and Matt and Lynn will work on the funny bike and get it ready. And then I kind of walk between the 2 teams and just have a busy day, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay. The tuning aspect of it. So we're gonna cut in.
Oh, I forgot one of the most important members of my team. We have a position called the starting line girl, and that's my wife, April White. And April came to me after a couple of races, and she said that she was tired of being a spectator. She wanted to come and do something on the team. She wanted to work on the team. And I asked her, I said, do you think you can bring me in the water box, wipe the tire down, and get me in position before I start to burn out and get on up to Johnny? And she said she could, and believe it or not, she does it, both bikes. Doesn't matter. She's always there. I don't have to worry about anything. She helps me when I get suited up, and extremely. April supports me extremely well. She takes care of all the work when we get back to the shop at home, getting the bus cleaned out, getting it reloaded with food. There's a lot of work involved there to get into the track and feeding the crew. And Leanne, that's with Johnny. Leanne does a tremendous amount of cooking because as you can tell, we have anywhere from 5 to 9 on a crew, depending if we have both crews here. Okay. To this weekend, we have Steve Vickers here. That's he works with Johnny at Hawaii Racing, and I think is hopefully someday going to be the gentleman that will continue that operation as we go off into the sunset if we get older. So there's just a lot of people that help you get through this sport. Yeah. Not to mention your competitors. Once you're out, I've seen competitors come and help other teams. Once you go out on a round, if you need a part or some help in the pits, I've had other team members come and help us too when we need help.
All right, well, we could sit here all day and talk, but obviously we can't because you got a lot of work to do. Yeah. Sam White, so I appreciate you sitting down with me today.
Absolutely, JT. I enjoyed it.
All right, we're going to talk to him again. So Sam White, so he's going to go out here, stay busy today, but we'll talk again.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank y'all for listening. We shall return.
How y'all doing? I hope y'all enjoyed that conversation. It was, he got a little bit more emotional than he thought he was going to, but he's a good man, and I look forward to future conversations. Now, hold tight a second, because we're getting ready to run to the video. I just wanted to remind y'all, my page, hey, I need help. We got to like, we got to subscribe, click the bell for notifications. I have a ton of these things coming, and video will come as long as I have the support. I've got all the equipment necessary to do it, and we can do it, but I need your help. JTNorton.com. Try and keep up. I appreciate y'all keeping up with me here today. Let's go watch this video.
All right, this is JT. I'm here with Sam. Now, we're out here at Rockingham AHDRA, and you're getting ready to watch 2 videos. One is on Terminator 2.
Yep.
And then we have Niki. Yep. And literally I cut the video, so when you're watching his helmet cam on the first one, this is going to be Q1, he goes around and literally comes back. So these are back-to-back passes on the helmet cam. I just cut out all the extra parts so we don't have to listen to all those stuff. So on that first Q1 pass, how'd that go for you?
Q1 first pass was fine on Terminator 2. We did hurt the front cylinder on the engine, which had to be replaced before we could go back out on round 3.
Okay. All right. All right, y'all enjoy. Take a look at this.
No worries, we good.
Let me get your valves here, Sam.
If you don't mind.
Not at all.
That's 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, brother.
771 qualifier.
Okay, when you're ready.
Just give us a second. You want to press the button in the final.
Hold on.
Folks kind of need to clean out that start line a little bit. Got too many folks up there for me.
Come on. Nope. Nope. I'm waiting on you.
I'm gonna go get him. Y'all get work.
Just a reminder, because we went to the electronic, back to the air switch, you can cut that on anytime after the burnout you want to.
Right.
You don't have to wait till you stage to cut that off. And then you cut that on before you stage. I'll be standing behind you to watch because I'm running right behind you.
Whenever you're ready, Sam, you're in a single. Take your time.
All right, let's preload.
Yep, ready?
Right when you're ready.
Go.
Just got to watch one, you got to watch two. The second shot was your Q1 on Niki. So how'd that one go for you?
Niki, the engine is running really good. Our clutch, we got a brand new system that controls the clutch. It's got 2 stages now. It's new to me. I obviously have my settings very off. Today for the race, I cut all that in half because I don't have any way of knowing where to be because it's brand new. And I hope we got it about right, because what happened was I applied 750 horsepower to this machine to me in 1/10 of a second, probably pulled close to 5 or 6 Gs.
Oh.
And that's why you see me losing control of the motorcycle when it pulled those 5 or 6 Gs.
Wow. Now, we want to thank Sam for letting me throw that camera on your helmet. So it's been a great ride. We got a ton, we got a few more. So
good, JT.
And then hopefully it helps them in the process too. That's the goal of all this. So.
Absolutely. Well, the goal today will be to win.
All right. Sunday, he's going after the win lights. So thank y'all for sticking in. Hope y'all enjoyed these ride-alongs.
Yep. Thank you, JT.
Thank you, sir.